Thank you for purchasing a Wood-Mizer portable sawmill. We think this mill will bring you many years of enjoyment as you begin to convert your own logs into valuable lumber. Use this DVD to review the basic assembly and operation for your new mill. You may want to view it once all the way through before beginning the actual assembly. Using this DVD in conjunction with the manuals provided should make this process go smoothly. If you have any additional questions come up along the way, feel free to contact our customer service department for assistance. To complement this assembly and operation DVD, be sure to consult your owner's manual for full safety and maintenance information. When you receive your LT10 sawmill, the shipment will consist of one package, the pallet holding all necessary pieces and material for assembling your LT10 sawmill. Before you can begin assembling your mill, you need to carefully unpack all the materials and set them aside where they'll be easily accessible. Start by cutting and removing the packaging strap that is securing the sawmill onto the pallet. You should always wear eye protection when you cut these straps. They will be under pressure and will jump when cut. Next, you will need to raise the head of the sawmill so you can remove the remaining pieces of the shipment. Do this by unlocking the sawmill head by lifting up on the locking lever and carefully pulling up the head of the sawmill. Push the locking hand back down to lock the mill head into place before continuing. Carefully remove the bag containing your blade and box of assembly pieces and set aside. Remove the bed supports by cutting the packing straps holding them into place, and also remove the log clamp by cutting its packing straps. Set both to the side. To remove the bed section side rails, use a 3/8 wrench to unbolt it from the pallet. Lifting only one at a time, place these rails in an open area where you will be building your sawmill. It is easiest if you lay them out in the pattern in which they will be built. Make sure that you're building your mill on a flat, solid surface to ensure a straight, level bed. Lastly, remove the engine box from the pallet and set aside. At this point, unpack the box containing the water bottle, sawmill hardware, side supports, tubing, and safety stickers. Go ahead and unpack the bag of hardware so that it is easily accessible while building your sawmill. With the hardware unpacked, you are ready to start placing your bed supports. It is easiest if you space out all the bed supports before you bolt them together. The bed supports are easily located into their proper positions by matching them with the pre-drilled holes in the bedside rails. The bed cross members also have pre-drilled holes and are located as shown above. Ensure that when placing your bed supports that the side support mounting holes are located on the same side of the mill. This is also the same side that the operator will be controlling the mill. Attach the bed supports to the side railing using the provided 3/8 by 1 inch hex head bolt and 3/8 nylon lock nut. It is easiest if you attach all the bed supports to one side of the railing first, before continuing to the other side. You will have 2 bed sections to complete in this fashion, each with 3 bed supports. Once the bed supports have been bolted into place on one side, repeat the process on the remaining side. With that complete, you need to now connect the 2 bed sections together. Slide the bed sections together, lining up the tabs so they match. Secure the bed sections together using the provided mounting plate and the 3/8 by 1 inch hex head bolt, flat washer, and 3/8 nylon lock nut. Do not completely tighten the bolts at this time. They must remain somewhat loose so we can adjust our bed rail and ensure that they are flush. Take the mounting bracket and insert into the 2 provided square holes. Make sure that the wider of the 2 notches on this bracket is facing up. Simply lead these 2 notches into the holes first, and then rotate the bottom notches into place. The bracket will set down into place, waiting to be tightened. Insert a 3/8 by 3.5 inch hex head bolt, washers, and 3/8 nylon lock nut into the mounting bracket. Tighten using a wrench until the 2 bed sections are pulled together and flush with one another. Once flush, you can tighten the original 4 mounting bolts. Repeat this step on the opposite side for the remaining mounting bracket. You are now ready to mount the 3 diagonal cross sections included with your mill. Align the diagonal cross sections with the pre-drilled holes, ensuring that the end of the cross section with the bent out tab is opposite the side closest to the side support mounting holes. Proceed to bolt into place using a 3/8 by 1 inch hex head bolt and 3/8 nylon lock nut, placing a washer on the inside of the bed sections. Tighten into place and repeat for the remaining 2 cross sections. At this point, we can locate and place the log clamp onto the bed sections. Every bed support comes pre-drilled to allow mounting of the log clamp. The only restriction is that you cannot mount the log clamp in the same place that also has a diagonal cross member. To mount the log clamp onto the bed support, use the provided bolt and nut already in place on the clamp. Simply unscrew the nut holding the bolt into place. Insert the log clamp bolt into the pre-drilled holes on the bed support. Replace the nut and tighten. Be advised that it may be necessary to remove the lower of the 2 bed support mounting bolts to install the log clamp. To finish the assembly of the bed sections, you will need to place an end stop at each end of the bed rail closest to the side support mounting holes. Secure using a 3/8 by 1 inch hex head bolt and a 3/8 nylon lock nut. These end stops will prevent the mill from sliding off the bed rails when you get close to either end of the bed. We are now ready to put the head and mast assembly onto our complete sawmill bed. First, lower the head back down, which gets the center of gravity of the head assembly as low as possible. The required weight capacity of the equipment to lift this is 800 pounds minimum. This can be done with a forklift, hoist, or crane. Ensure that the head and mast assembly is facing the correct direction. When looking at the front head mast assembly, the bed should be located so that the side support mounting holes are on the right side of the mill. With the head mast assembly centered over the sawmill bed, begin to slowly lower the head so that the track wheels will fall into the right place on the bed rails. Make sure that all 4 wheels are properly located on the bed rails before continuing the next step. At this point, you can now adjust the track wipers so that they are now touching the sawmill bed rails. Loosen the bolts and drop the track wiper to the bed rail and retighten the bolts. There are 8 total, 2 on either side of each wheel housing. Now that the head mast of the mill is on the bed, it is important that you place the safety stickers onto the bed. There are 4 total, 1 for each side of each bed section.
Now we can install the cable system onto the bed. In the packaging, you will have 4 wheels, 2 wheel mounts, 2 cables, and 2 long bolts to attach the cable to the base of the mast. The 4 wheels will be mounted on each corner of the bed. To mount, place the wheel under the bed rail. Use the provided nut and bolt to secure the wheel to the bed frame. A portion of the wheel will stick out of the hole in the side tracks. Repeat the process for the remaining wheels, ensuring that they spin freely. Now we can mount the wheel brackets. Both brackets go on the right side of the mill, located here and here. Use the provided nuts and bolts to secure the bracket to the pre-drilled mounting holes. Repeat for the second bracket on the other end of the bed frame. The bed is now ready for the cables. Using the long bolt and cable provided, go to the base of the head mast assembly. Place the bolt through the pre-drilled hole. The bolt will go all the way through to the bottom. Place the looped end of the cable onto the bolt and secure with the washer and nut provided. Once secure, pull the cable up to the front wheel on the same side. Place the cable through the hole, ensuring it rests in the wheel grooves. Pull cable to the opposite wheel bracket. Continue to pull the cable underneath all bed rails to the rear end of the mill. Pull cable over the wheel bracket and through the wheel at the rear of this side of the bed frame. Pull the cable so it is near tight. Pull the remaining part of the cable under the base of the mast and tie it to the pre-drilled holes, as shown. Once the cable has been tied off, return to the wheel bracket. Push the bracket so the cable becomes taut. Tighten the wheel to hold it in place. The cable should have some give, but it will not be loose. With that complete, repeat the process for the other cable. You start on the opposite base of the mast. Secure the cable using the bolt and run the cable up to the front wheel on this side. Put it through the hole and run it under the bed rails to the back wheel bracket. Then run the cable across to the opposite rear wheel to be run up the side and tied off to the front of the base of the mast. Please refer to the diagram in the manual if you need any additional assistance.
We are now ready to unpack and install your LT10 engine. Start by unpacking the box contents including oil, drive belt, and all necessary hardware. Unpack the engine pulley and mounting plate from their shipping packages. You will find the screws and washers required for mounting located with the mounting plate. Locate the mounting key, which is packed with the hardware and engine manual. Place key into its proper place on the engine drive shaft. Ensure that the end of the key is flush with the end of the drive shaft. Next, align the mounting plate so the notch in the center hole fits onto the mounting key and drive shaft. Push the mounting plate into place, ensuring that the drive shaft is flush with the end of the mounting plate. Now place the engine pulley onto the mounting plate, ensuring that the holes on each are lined up properly. Insert screw and washer through holes on the back of the mounting plate and tighten using a 7/16 wrench. The last step is to add the engine oil. Remove the oil cap and dipstick from the top of the engine. Pour engine oil into engine. Check the oil fill by inserting the dipstick back into its place and then pulling it back out. You will see how full the oil is by the indicator on the stick. Ensure that the oil fill is at its proper line before returning cap and securing into place. Your 10 horsepower engine is now ready to be placed on your sawmill. When you are ready, place the engine onto the mounting plate located on the back side of the head mast assembly. Ensure that the engine drive wheel goes through the hole on the back of the head. Line up the engine to the matching mounting holes and secure using the provided nut, bolt, and washer that came in your engine package. Before you tighten the bolts completely, you need to check the alignment of the engine drive wheel to the blade guide wheel. Open the front covers of your mill and using a 20-inch square or straight edge, place the flat edge on your engine drive wheel and touch 2 points of the opposite edge to the blade guide wheel. The goal is to make sure that these 3 points are flat and level with each other. Slide and adjust the engine as necessary to reach this goal. Once the 3 points are flat and level, you can return to the back side of the sawmill head and tighten the 4 bolts holding the engine in place. With the engine in place, you now need to place the drive belt. Take the rubber engine belt and place it on the engine drive wheel, pulling the rest of the belt over the blade wheel on the right side of the head. We are now ready to install the blade into the head of the sawmill. Make sure that you are wearing proper gloves and eye protection while handling the blade. Remove the blade from its shipping box, and while holding the blade in one hand, cut the strip holding the blade in its coil. Carefully uncoil the blade, extending it to its full length. Insert the blade, teeth facing out. Make sure that the blade is on the outside of the 2 blade wheels and under both blade guides. The blade is in its proper position when the blade gullet is about 1/8 inch from the wheel. Once the blade is in position, Tension the blade by rotating the blade tension handle counterclockwise until it is in the locked position. Ensure that the end of the alignment bracket is aligned with the washer. If not, untension the blade. Rotate the bolt slightly and retension the blade. Repeat this process until alignment is achieved. Next, you need to install the blade height indicator. With the blade tensioned, measure from the top of the bed support to the blade. Remember this number. On the back side of the sawmill head, install the blade height indicator at the number you just measured. Once aligned, use the two small Phillips pan head screws and hex nuts to secure it in place. To install the water bottle onto your mill, lower the head all the way down to the bed. The water bottle will easily slide onto the mast. Take the provided clear tubing and attach one end to its proper place on the sawmill head. Pull the tubing up to the water bottle. You may have more tubing than is required. Simply trim off any excess tubing, leaving just enough to reach the water bottle without too much slack. Push the remaining end of the tube onto its proper place on the water bottle spout. With the mast head assembly completed and attached to the bed, check the squareness of the mast to the bed, ensuring that it is 90 degrees. Simply take your square and place one side on the bed and the other against the mast. If it isn't square, loosen the two bolts on both sides of the mast. Rotate the head square and retighten. At this point, you can place the provided side supports into their proper resting place. The last step to complete your assembly of your new LT10 sawmill is to place the travel bolts so that the head doesn't move during travel. Push the head of the mill to the rear of the bed, lining it up with the pre-drilled travel mounting holes. Use the 6-inch bolts and the 3/8 nuts. Slide the bolts through the holes in both the mast assembly and the bed. Secure into place with nut and washer. Congratulations! You have now completed the assembly of your LT10 sawmill. If you have any further questions, refer to your manual or review this DVD again. If you have any questions not answered by either of these, please feel free to call our customer service department for assistance. The next portion of this presentation will help you get started with the basic sawing and operation of your sawmill.